We know one thing for certain in 2023, that the last few years have turned the work world on its head, with a global pandemic creating and enforcing new strategies to keep the wheels turning. Remote work became the norm. Some companies embrace the remote work model and will keep it full-time, while others have spent the last several years getting back to the office. In every instance, however, recent events have taught companies a lot of lesson about what it takes to make a great employee in an ever-changing economy. And just as the labor market has become competitive for employers, it is also competitive for job seekers. But today's focus is on job seekers. Now is the time to think beyond experience, degrees, certifications, and focus on the top job skills employers want and are looking for in this present labor year. Now, joining me for the Career Hub powered by African Talent Company is Chris Otundo, who is the CEO of BrighterMonday right there in Kenya. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us.
Having me.
So let's quickly look at it. What are the most important skills that employers are looking for in today's job market?
Yeah, I think it's a fundamental question that many people are likely to be asking. But in responding to that question, we must take stock of the context in which we operate. Today, we are operating in a market where employers are indeed also complaining that there seems to be a very wide gap between the skills that the job seekers actually have and what the employers are looking for. You must also remember we are coming from an unprecedented global pandemic. And so a lot of companies the world over are relooking and reshaping the way they operate their businesses. And so because of this, the kind of skills that will be required needs to take into account the market in which we operate. So for instance, the market today is going through unprecedented changes in terms of technology, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but there's rapid technological advancements. And so an individual who's adaptable, an individual who has digital literacy, then becomes very critical. You talk about the fact that because of the pandemic and because of the way the world has turned, companies are now more and more global. And so what that means is that the little jobs that we had locally, we're now competing for them globally. And so an individual who is astute at communication, an individual who is culturally aware, is diverse and knowledgeable about diversity, this individual begins to stand out compared to his peers. We've talked about the fact that today there's an emergence of AI. I mean, we've been talking about AI. It's now here in a big way. We've just recently seen Microsoft release something called Microsoft Copilot. We saw Google's AI Bard technology. And so individuals who understand how to leverage these solutions and are creative, individuals who understand how to program, who understand how to analyze data, these begin to, again, become the individuals who begin to stand out. The nature of work has changed significantly. And so individuals who can assist their leaders to problem solve and to solve for a new world, these, again, are individuals who are critical. The customer's needs are evolving because of, again, the new world in which we operate. You begin to see the need for individuals who are very good at offering customers unique and creative solutions. And so the world over, it's not so much the technical skills, but a lot of the human-centric skills that are going to become more and more critical as we go ahead.
All right, so for a job seeker, how do you think he or she can begin to identify in-demand skills? How do you think they can start looking at the kind of sectors or industries that they need to look into so that they can identify those skills and be ready to position themselves for it?
I think for starters, one needs to be extremely curious. You need to be awake to the realities. If you remember, I spent some time now positioning the context. So at an individual level, you need to understand your country's context. What is the market? What is the market? What is the country targeting? What is the government looking at focusing? What are the companies in your country looking for in terms of profiles? And so you will probably need to spend a lot more time engaging with professional networks, the likes of LinkedIn. You want to look at job boards, see what the market, what shifts are happening in the market so that you begin to position yourself appropriately. Go for networking events. These are places where you will find a lot of insight into the changes and shifts that are going on in your market. The last one is really around finding a good mentor or a coach. These individuals are likely to also provide you insight into what they're beginning to see is evolving in the market. So it's really down to you being very curious, you being awake to the realities that are going on in your context.
All right, before now, we've had conversations about specialization, you being a thorough professional in a particular field. But now, just as you have said, the market demands are changing and there are shifts here and there. So how do you think, how important first is it for a job seeker to diversify skills acquisition? And how do you think he can do that to ensure that he's more relevant rather than having to stay stereotyped in a particular course or field?
So I'll start by saying, if your career was a house, the future of work will see your career becoming a tent. What you do with a tent is that you put it up, you put it down, you move it to a different location based on where you are in your journey. Gone are the days where you will go to school for 4 years and leverage that skill for 40 years. That is a long gone position. You're now going to be required to be a lifelong learner. In fact, the top skill that we're going to all need to have, it's a bit of an oxymoron, is our ability to learn. So something they're calling learning agility. If you can master learning, then you're well positioned to take on the future of work. So to your question, you're going to have to be someone who's adaptable enough to pick up a skill, drop it, pick up another one, learn another one, because the rate at which change is coming, we will not be able to keep up if you are concerned or happy with having one skill set as your career. You're going to have to be someone who's willing to take on much more as we go along. And so again, individuals are going to have to be very resilient, because it's not easy to continually have to pick up on new skills, drop, pick up a new skill. It's going to require a very different breed of individuals at the workplace, because jobs themselves are not going to disappear. The tasks within jobs is what's going to change. And so you're going to have to then figure out, because technology is going to a great extent, deal with all the mundane tasks within your job. And so what the technology cannot replace is the creativity, the innovation. And that's where the human element comes in. And those are the skill sets that will be required. And so you'll be able to then seam in between different jobs and leverage your creativity and your innovation and your digital literacy around the newest technologies that are emerging to be able to survive.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. But I'd love to keep on talking about this, because I was hoping that we could talk about the role of employers and education institutions in scaling up the training and retraining of students, most especially that pass through the institutions of learning. But then we are pressed for time, and we'll see how we can bring that up some other time. It's quite good. It's nice to have you talk to us this morning, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time as well.
All right. Well, in today's competitive job market, it is important to have a wide range of skills, even as Chris has talked about, for you to be able to stand out and be able to be marketable, most especially for the employers that are seeking your particular set of skills.